Vinit Goenka, we've had the opportunity to have a similar discussion here a few times in the past as well. And the reason why I keep coming back to it, because I think it is core to the experience all of us are having right now. And it's truly a conundrum. I don't think there's any clear answer. You too would agree that while your party, for example, is excellent at using social media for your message, there are times when it can be very harmful. Where do you draw the line? And in this case, is it fair to blame social media? How about going after the people who are spreading that hate?
You rightfully said, the platform is not to be blamed because platform does not have any kind of emotions. It are the people who are behind the content who have to be blamed. Having said so, I think there are certain duties the platform should do it. And two, there should be certain regulations which I could propose as personal individual to the government, I feel, which will solve the problem. Now, the duty is that any platform, whether it is social media or media, the regulation of the content has to be done by the platform. The platform makes millions of dollars. Why can't they put in technology which can check in this kind of hate speech spreading across, decisive messages spreading across? They can always put this kind of technologies where they can arrest this kind of messages before it goes to a larger population. Also pinpoint which are the handles which create this kind of damages to the society. Now, there are two more propositions which we have been advocating, and I hope one day there is a rule in this regard. Is one, there should be a KYC of every account. This manless account is a danger to the society. Yes, in a democracy, you have a right to speak. You can speak anything which is pro-government, against government, within the framework of the constitution, but cannot do it anonymously. Anonymity also gives rise to fake news, half news, semi-newses, deemed newses, and created newses. So here we should put a KYC system whereby every account has a KYC so that you know who is the man behind the account A. B, put in a system whereby you bring the servers or the data of these particular social media platforms, irrespective of whoever they are, to India so that the law enforcement agencies have access to it. When there are these kind of cases, law enforcement agencies can access them and decide whether this content is wrong or right, and they can be prosecuted in case they are wrong. This is the second demand. And third, which is not the preview of today's mandate, but I feel the social media companies make a lot of revenues and they do not contribute to the taxation of the country. I think this is high time we start talking about that. The revenue which they generate by Indians within the country and also by Indians outside the country should be taxed as we tax the newspapers or any television channels, because this is a media channel. So these three things: one, KYC; second, data centers within the country; and third, taxation provision should be there.
That's what you said on the face of it seems largely it's commonsensical that law enforcement authorities should be able to know. The problem, honestly, and I'm speaking frankly here, is of faith on what law enforcement authorities will do with that information. Right now you have a situation, and I'm speaking in context of the Delhi riots, where people who have made insightful speeches and they're not hiding behind some anonymous account, you can see them. There is no action against them. So how is anyone going to have faith that there will be...
No, you are presuming that there are no action.
There will be action and correct action, and there will be no misuse of this information. What is really the point if the Delhi police right now is being questioned for its conduct in any case, and Delhi police is complaining that XYZ social media platform didn't take down a video soon enough? One wonders, should the priority be to rectify the actions of the Delhi police and professionalize all police forces in the country, or go after who took how long to take down a tweet?
You have asked multiple questions in one go, and let me answer each of these questions patiently. Number one, is there is a need of reforms in the police, technological upgradation of the police, funding of the police? Answer is yes. We as a country have done less for the policemen, and we should do that so that they are comfortable, they are upbeat with the technologies, and they also need tools and techniques and training which is required as per 2020, not as per 1980s or 1990s. So that is undoubted a thing where thereby resources should be provided, training should be provided. Having said so, social media companies cannot be protected from one funda where they do not respond, and that's why the demand of data sovereignty, the demand of bringing the data back to India is getting strengthened every day, that they do not cooperate when they have been asked to cooperate. Now, you cannot put a LEV that police reforms have to take place, so social media companies will not cooperate. It is independent. Social media companies are a private company making profit. They make billions of dollars through India. They better cooperate. There is no other two way of this. Number three, you said that there are accounts which do not hide under anonymity and yet spread hatred. Please bring to the notice of the police, CP Delhi, or you can also mark
about
it to
accounts,
me. I'll make sure that it is
Vinit,
raised to
I'm
the
talking
police and they will
about
track them
various
down. And there are
political
incidences where they've been
leaders
tracked.
who have indulged in hate speech and there have been no action. The courts right now are hearing cases of whether there should be FIRs
I would request
against
you
them
and
or
your
not.
audience. I would request you and your audience. Of course, there should be an FIR if you feel that content which has been put is not right. Whether the accounts are known or whether are anonymous accounts, you can always report them to CP Delhi. In case you have not done that, please do it again. If your audience are listening, my account can be used, my account can be marked, and I'll make sure they're in turn been marked to the police.
No.
And I assure you one thing, the police right now is under very professional hand.
Yeah.
And they are really doing work, and they have shown very high degree of patience, which no police in the world has shown. So let me tell you, the restraint which they have shown, the professional conduct which they have shown, is unparalleled to any other force in the world.
Vinit, I just want you to respond to a couple of points that Nikhil made, and one of them was, and this is also true, that during the last few months of strife, a lot of information was also coming in through social media. Now the danger of that is it's unfiltered. Nikhil, you're right. Sometimes it seems faster than traditional news communication channels because then there are more checks and balances that we have to do before we put something out. So we would not put a lot of things out. There is no such filter in social media. It's a free for all. How do you ensure that freedom is there, that flow of information is there, Vinit? Because that's also important. And how do you ensure that things like linking KYC doesn't lead to targeting?
So, I don't understand this logic where the capitalist business, which is making billions of dollars, the issues which should be tackled by them and addressed by them, they have been pushed on the government. They are platforms. Like you are a platform, you are a TV channel. How you are responsible? There are rules and regulations which help you. Are you been censored? In this country, censure was only applied between 1976 to 78 when there was emergency. So let us all grow up. This is a very fair democracy where power exchanges have happened. Prime ministers have won elections, they have lost elections. The power without a single bullet been fired. Censorship has been here only in emergency. So when a TV channels can strive, they can speak for or against the government, for or against a policy of the government. Newspapers can speak. People can come on the road and protest. Shaheen Bagh can be there for 2 months, 3 months. What is this misinformation being spread that there will be censorship? Censorship is in China. We are talking about allowing any channel, every channel, any medium, any platform to come and prosper in India, provided they follow the rules of the country. And what is wrong in that? Does it call it censorship? So do not use words which will create misunderstandings like censorship. A. B. When we have KYC for bank accounts, do you think that every authority runs behind your bank account? Answer is no. It only helps you to corrupt down certain malicious intent. There is a KYC for mobiles. Do you mean that every mobile number has been tracked by the agencies or the government just because you are pro-government or against government? Answer is no. Same way, if there is a KYC, you need not worry if you have not done anything wrong. I don't do anything wrong, so I don't worry. If the authorities come behind me for checking this thing, then there is law, there are courts where you can go and take recourse in case you feel there has been exigencies by the authority.
I wish
Number 4,
reality reflected
blaming the police for anything in summarily has become a fashion. Let me complete. Now, then there are questions of anonymity in the meeting or the clampdowns or non-transparency of the meeting which happened between the minister or the ministry and the platform. Well, the platforms are not transparent about how the numbers of followers go up and come down. Why do they have a shadow blocking? Why do they have, some content being spread very fast, some content not being shown? They are not transparent about who are putting the things which are against the country. I'll give you one example. Twitter allowed a promotion, a paid ad of, an Khalistani terrorist. I objected to it. And the Twitter executive plainly wrote me one WhatsApp message, sir, we have taken down the account. Now, please tell me, madam, had your channel shown an account which is breaking India, do you think your channel would have been spared by any government, irrespective of the government party which is running this? They would have come behind you, ma'am. Yeah. Now, Twitter cannot hide behind saying that, we don't operate from India. So we better as a citizen understand that there is a responsibility. Okay. They are making billions of dollars. They could have put in technological things which they are want to do.
They're making billions of
and
dollars
what
or
they do
$0.
Is they use many times the so-called free speech advocates
I get your point.
who do not talk responsibly.
Hang on. Let's get
And there should be also transparency to the funding of these NGOs and think tanks,
no, I think
which
Nikhil is
always
talking
talk about
transparency
anti-police and
of the
anti-government.
government towards its citizens.
There is no transparency
You're
about their
talking
funding.
about transparency of social media giants to the government. They're two different things. We're
Oh
talking
my
about
goodness!
transparency
So
to the
yeah,
citizens. 1 minute,
so
let
you know
people
what?
respond.
That pains me.
Let's take the discussion
So that
forward.
pains
Please,
me.
hold your horses.
There is no transparency.
Yes, Apar, please come in.
Yeah. So
Vinit, I know you're smiling because you're feeling that it's fairness. But in all fairness, those in power and those running governments want to have a tight control, no matter what party they're from. It's like a natural urge. 1 minute, let Nikhil come in. Let Nikhil come in on this. So, but you have to keep the balance because Nikhil, you have to admit it's going out of hand.
can I respond because you have blamed a lot to the government?
Yeah, but
you have
one
put
by
a very
one, you
high
will get a
degree
chance.
of blame.
Vinit,
Tamanna, can I answer
have
you
I ever
first
not given a fair chance to everyone? Anyone who watches this show knows
you
that.
blamed the government that it wants a tight government
All
control.
governments,
So
all
can I respond
governments, it's
that
in the nature of all governments is what I said. One second, let Nikhil come in and let me ask you the counter.
Mr. Goenka also made this point about,
Yeah.
KYC for bank accounts,
I'm running
etc.
out of time. I
You
need to wrap this
You cannot
conversation.
have the same standards for,
Yeah.
you cannot have the same standards.
I got that point.
You can't have the same standards for speech as you have for banking. Banking and financial transactions are very different from free speech.
So he's responding, Vinit, to your point, saying that there's KYC for your bank account, there's KYC for your mobile phone. He's saying it's not the same thing. You can't have KYC for free speech. Because then you know that someone's watching, it will have a chilling effect. Vinit, your response, I request you to keep it short because this would be the last comment.
Yeah. If you want, I will not speak also. That's not a problem. But I'll tell you, you cannot cut the hands, legs, break, cut ears, nose, pierce eyes through of the government and then say, why don't you act? So one way you will say, there is a free speech, don't I action when we ask about KYC. And then when, something happens, they say, why didn't you act? The people who make billions of dollars, they cannot be taxed, they cannot be questions. But the same, the transparency of the discussion has to be there. And there is no transparency of
Mr. Goenka,
funds which are being received by these so-called
I haven't
think
talked
tanks
about
and NGOs,
taxation.
which
They
represent
should be
the
taxed.
platforms.
There is no issue with
So
taxation.
please,
He's not talking
I
about
never
taxation.
interjected. Why are you not allowing me to speak? So you talk about free speech and you don't allow me to speak. What is this, Nikhilji? So please, bother about what is your funding coming about. Let us have a transparency about that. So let me tell you very categorically. There should be KYC. There has to be responsibility of the platforms to be fixed. The data has to be brought back to the country. And the people who try to divide this country, try to break this country, try to create differences in religion should be identified. And they cannot be given a leeway under the name of free speech. This free speech comes with a certain degree of responsibility. And these people who represent the platforms, as if they are independent, they should also be transparent about where are their funds coming from. Why don't they share their sources of funds?
Okay, source of funds and taxation is a very important issue, but it's a different one. So let's not go into there. Vinit, I'm going to take the last points you made, that people who
that is very important. Once you do that, then you know where is the revenue coming from. Who are the people who are funding it? I'll tell you one incident which happened, Tamanna ji. I was in a round table.
Yeah.
A very senior police officer of Maharashtra. Yeah. He was there and he made a very responsible statement. Then, tweets in Marathi were coming from Pakistan for the RA this thing. Now, they could track that only when the platforms cooperate. If they don't cooperate, then how do you know it? So, if you have KYC, you can identify who the thing is.
Okay. No,
and also these people who represent these
what you said as I
channels,
close,
these
because
platforms,
this is a
they should be
conversation that
transparent
can
about
go
their
on
source
and
of
on, and I
funds.
do have to end.